back to another episode. We got our first guest of the week here. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Joey Atherall. Joey, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Atherall. I'm a senior midfielder at U of M Dearborn. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's not forget about Braxton too. Braxton, come on.
Yeah, I'm Braxton. Welcome back to episode 4. This week we actually have a little bit of a different topic since we have a special guest. We want to talk about some high school football. So Bryce, take us into it.
All right, so just to kick it off with our first take of high school stories. So Joe, I know you're from New York, big lacrosse hotbed, but you weren't even just a lacrosse player. You're a big football player as well. How about you start by telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I played football from second grade all the way up until my senior year of high school. And Bryce kind of touched on it. Yorktown was like a real lacrosse town. Like if you didn't play lacrosse in Yorktown, like what were you doing? But our coaches growing up always encouraged us to do multiple sports. And I picked football as mine just because I love the sport. So started in second grade, played all the way up until high school. I was on varsity for 3 years at Yorktown. Had the chance to play with some really crazy players. Big one, and I'm going to name drop him early, Brett Makar. Played on the team with him for 2 years. Not only one of the best lacrosse players in the country right now, also was a stud in high school football. But I was fortunate enough to make a state title run in New York, which is pretty sweet. Played in a couple of section championships, but yeah, football is a huge part of my life growing up. I mean, it taught me some stuff that you can't learn anywhere else.
So like as someone, I know I played football for a little bit. So what would you say that translation from like lacrosse to football, like what would you say about that?
I mean, they're totally different sports, right? But they both kind of teach you your own aspects of just being a all-around athlete. So like in lacrosse, specifically, especially as a midfielder, you're looking for that like long distance running, which you're not really finding a lot of in football. But you do learn in football, like a lot of physicality stuff. Like you're constantly getting hit by everybody. And that really translates, especially when you're trying to make that dodge from the top, like going down the alley. Like if you're afraid to put your shoulder down and run through somebody, you're just going to get bullied off the ball, like consistently. So,
right.
I mean, I can say football helped a ton with that, but I would say probably the even bigger like lessons you take from football are all like off the field stuff. Like some of the leadership traits that, I mean, I personally think that I possess, the teammate and the team aspect of football. Like you can carry that with you anywhere in life, not even just in lacrosse. But I mean, yeah, that's probably the biggest one is the physicality side of it. You toughen up a little bit. So when you get to the lacrosse field, somebody hitting you with like a random slap feels a little bit different after you're getting over by like a middle linebacker. So,
right.
I mean, I would say that's probably the biggest transition that I was able to see. But also like that, the more left to right movements you get in lacrosse, especially I played wide receiver and safety. So at like wide out, those left to right cuts you have to make in your routes, like definitely helps a lot on dodging. And then as a safety, again, just like fill in the hole. Like you got to take a hit or give a hit. So
yeah,
those are probably
interesting thing that you said actually about the culture of football and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So coming from Yorktown, did you find that football had more of a culture, like a stronger culture, or did you think that lacrosse did, or do you think they both were similar?
Oh, dude, I mean, like you hear me talk about Yorktown and you don't really understand it unless you're from there. Like
right.
Friday Night Lights like is an unreal feeling in that town. Don't get me wrong. Like, but going to a Yorktown lacrosse game, especially one of the big ones, right? Like the section championship, state championship, like the Murphy Cup was always like there was so many people there. Like you could find just as many, if not more people at the Murphy Cup and the section tournament than you would find at like the biggest high school football game of the year at Yorktown.
Wow.
The lacrosse culture there is just, it's insane. It's actually, it's something that I'll never forget and can never be more thankful for, is growing up in that town, especially because everyone's just so involved. It's kind of a smaller town. So everybody knows each other. Everybody picks up on each other. Like you're looking out for your boys and it's unreal.
Yeah, that's the best when it's more of like a personal experience and everybody knows everyone,
Yeah.
So would you equate like having like a Friday Night Lights for like lacrosse compared to how like I guess like I would see it for football in Texas?
Oh yeah. especially like coming into this, I kind of wanted to bring this up because like the caliber of football that you're seeing, like where Bryce is at in Texas, is like the caliber of lacrosse that you were seeing when I was at Yorktown. Like, you go to Allen High School in Texas on a Friday night, and you're gonna see like some of the best teams in the country playing. You go to Yorktown for like a big night game. Like my junior year, we played St. Anthony's under the lights. Like when you're playing such high caliber talent and you're just in such a hotbed area, like the lacrosse culture is just crazy because I can kind of lay out some of the schedules that I played. And then Bryce, you can kind of show what the football equivalent would have been to that. But like in 1 year at Yorktown, like you're playing Chaminade, St. Anthony's, Darien, Ridgefield. If you make it deep in playoffs, you're playing Victor, who else? Jamesville, DeWitt, like all of these just national powerhouses just every single year. And it's all to prepare you for the regular season in section. So
yeah, that's really cool.
Oof, man. I guess a football equivalent for Texas. I guess in like 1 year you're gonna see North Shore, who consistently is like top 10 in the country. Katie Taylor. I would even throw Atascocita in the mix, who's our rivals, but it's always a big game. So like I can definitely see how that translation probably goes back. Cause I know even watching like the lax.com clips where they would like do highlights, I would always see like a Yorktown game.
Yeah,
Yorktown. Especially I think it was like
2019,
2018. I was looking, I was like, bro, the atmosphere is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. It's been weird being away from it, quite honestly, because like now I'm just one of those washed up like Yorktown alumni. Just following all the games on Twitter and like just still supporting the guys from far away, and you see the highlights come out, and it brings it back because you just hear how electric the crowd is like for all those big games. It's awesome.
So like going back to, I guess, like, so the football aspect. So would you say that looking back football, you got a different experience in terms of, I guess, in terms of team bonding that you ever did in lacrosse?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one, but I mean you can kind of feel it because you've played football too.
Right.
I would say it's very different. It's extremely different. In lacrosse, I mean at the same time, all teams are gonna get close, right? You like love everybody on your team, and you guys get really close. But I don't know, there's just something about like the intensity that comes with football, where it's like if in a lacrosse game, if one guy kind of makes a mistake, somebody could make like a crazy play and you'd get the result you want with either a goal or a stop or whatever it may be.
Right.
Like in football, if one lineman misses a block, like the quarterback's done. Like I feel like you rely on each other to a different degree in football per se.
Yeah.
Especially when like, and like it happens in lacrosse sometimes, but not as deep as it does in football. Like if you miss a block, like on the outside, and like that safety's coming to like fill the hole, your running back's getting like smoked.
Yeah.
He's getting his head taken off.
Gone.
When the physicality and intensity seems to be a little bit higher and like the degree of injury is just a little bit more than it might be in lacrosse, like making that play for the guy next to you kind of means a little bit more. So I'd say it's different in a way, but I mean, that's a hard question, Bryce. You're throwing them. It
is. No, well, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about questions like I wanted to ask you. I was looking back at my personal experiences. I guess like the only time for me in lacrosse, like where I was thinking like, yeah, if I mess up, that like it's gonna result in like someone getting smoked, really, is like defense. I guess like if a guy on defense gets just absolutely torched, and then next thing you know, the goalie has to watch like an 8-yard like step down. All right, that's one thing where I can say, okay, yeah, that's he's done. But I guess in football, it was a completely different thing because it was like that every single play. Yeah. Every single play you made, if you messed up, it's gonna cost you. But I feel like in lacrosse, it was more like you can recover from a play that you messed up on, or you can get bailed out by a different part of the game.
Right.
So
yeah,
I definitely take that from football, that aspect of like whenever I'm there, like I cannot mess up, and like you have to trust the guys around you. For me, at least, I was never close with any of the guys before I played football with them, but by the end of the year, like, dude, it's a whole different thing because you go through that physicality day in, day out, pushing each other, hitting each other every single day. and then doing that on the field and then relying on each other, I just feel like it's different compared to lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean, and we haven't even talked about it yet, but like something you don't normally see in lacrosse. I don't know if many programs around the country do this, but like in football, like you're running doubles for like 2 weeks in the like brutalest part of summer. Like you're gonna get really close really fast. And if you don't, by the time you end up playing other teams, you're gonna get smoked.
That's so true. Summer camp, bro, coming into the fall is something else.
It's the worst, dude. It's like it's one of those things where when you're in it, you're like, man, this really stinks. Like,
Yeah.
I do not want to be here. And then you never get the chance to do it again. And you're like, it wasn't great, but it's kind of shapes you into who you are as a person.
That's why I kind of like wish that I guess like lacrosse had that to a degree, because I feel like you definitely get so close with the people you're with, because experiencing the same kind of suck that like everyone else is going, it just brings you closer, bro. It's something else. And like I wouldn't trade it for the world, but at the time, like as you're saying, it sucked. Like it just was the worst. I wanted to quit, but you keep pushing, like
I never played football, so how long were like the summer practices? What made them so terrible?
Joe, you want to go first?
I don't know what it was like in Texas, but at Yorktown we were running like 7 to noon. You were going, and then you would have like an hour lunch break from 12 to 1, and then from probably like 1 to 5 or 5:30 you were practicing. And then you would wake up and you would do the same exact thing the next day. And it wasn't like one of those situations where it was like 7 p.m. start. It was like 6:45 specialties, so you're there at 6:30 and then you're starting at 7. But yeah, I don't know, what was it like for you in Texas there, Bryce?
All right, I'll start with middle school, right? So the way middle school works in Texas is you can only do like, you couldn't do any pads or helmets and stuff. It was all like just basically just like conditioning strength stuff. So like I want to say like about a week before school started, we kind of like started getting to that kind of like non-coach workouts. And so it's like we were doing it the hottest part of the day, like 12 o'clock. And keep in mind, it's like August, so it's like outside, it's like 100-something degrees.
It's like that different Texas heat.
It's that different Texas thing, bro. Because we weren't even like, our field wasn't even the best. So it was like grass and dirt. So then like, we're busting it. And then you come to just a start of fall. And then it was like, all right, now we're going, it's early 5 a.m. practices. And then we would have after school practices, sometimes after school weights as well. So then we're doing like 2 days every single day. And then you have game day, which we do pregame lift as well. And then going to high school.
In middle school?
Yeah.
You did pregame lift in middle school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
It was like, it was different, bro. And then it's a grind. It's a grind. And the next thing you know, you start practices and it's just like, it's crazy. I don't know. It's just hot. That's the best I can describe it. But it's a lot of running, a lot of physical conditioning. And once you put pads on, you're at each other until first game day.
Did Texas have a rule? We had a rule where like you couldn't do full contact for the first, I think it was like 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, you couldn't do full contact. Middle school, it was for the first week. And then but like we could put pads on. So like we couldn't put pads on first 2 days, but then after that we could have pads on, and then we just couldn't hit for that first week, and then we could hit that next week. But then high school, it was like the same issues. Like we just couldn't hit for the first 2 days, but a lot of it was just conditioning, see who's going to quit first. Kind of that, just kind of like who's going to be the strongest, who's going to like actually like embrace the suck. So
yeah, dude, my coach in high school, Coach House, he was like was a total beast. He like played in college. Just this, like we called him, like his name was Coach Resigno, but we called him House because the dude was literally built like a house. So he used to always like during that doubles, he was going to be like, he's like, you're not here to just wear a jersey, boys. He was like, you're either going to do something. We're not giving out free jerseys.
So like, Joe, did you ever see like any future with like football or anything, or?
I mean, not really. So I was like, as the kids are saying nowadays, I was pretty mid at football. Like, I like to think that I was good, but like, if you really look back at my tape and my stats and compare it to some players around the country, you're probably like, dude, this kid is like mid. But I loved it and I tried really hard, and I got some good PT my senior year, a little bit my junior year. So I mean, I never really saw a future with it, especially in Yorktown, where one, you get pretty lacrosse oriented pretty quick. But I mean, there's still some kids that come out of Yorktown, they go to some schools and play. I kind of fell in love with lacrosse when I started playing, and as I got into high school, it started to drift away from a future in football and really started focusing on lacrosse. But so yeah, I never personally saw a future, but I wish I did sometimes. That sport was awesome, dude.
I
So
feel
like,
like being a
yeah.
multi-sport athlete is actually like something that they look for in recruits in lacrosse, and I think that it's usually football players that tend to get like more looks because football teaches you so much about like leadership and physicality and all that stuff. So I
Mm.
think it's definitely interesting. I think it's honestly even an advantage when you're getting recruited in lacrosse to have a football background.
Dude,
Oh, 100%.
absolutely. I was like, again, like when you guys told me kind of what we were going to be doing here, that's like the first thing that came to my mind was like, well, a couple episodes ago, they were talking about recruiting process and like,
Yeah,
if a coach ever tries to specialize you when you're like in sixth grade, you should leave that program.
Leave the program.
Don't buy into that. College coaches love seeing kids who have played several sports. You don't even have to really exceed in those sports. Like every sport you play is going to teach you something different, right? Like we
Mhm.
talked about what football is, it can teach you, what it taught me. But like look at basketball players. Look at Pat Spencer, dude. Like Pat Spencer
Right.
goes out and dominates college lacrosse and then goes and plays professional basketball. Like every single move that you do as an attackman is basically a basketball related movement.
It's
Um,
true.
it's just do not for any child that watches this, do not specialize.
Don't
You're
specialize at all.
specialized enough when you reach college. Don't
And
specialize.
try every sport while you're young.
Yeah.
So like while we're going into this, so Joe, could you walk us through your recruiting journey, at least for lacrosse, how you know up at UMD?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started playing in like fifth or sixth grade, which is like very late in Yorktown. A lot of kids are starting like third grade, fourth grade, very young. Um, so I started a little bit late. Thankfully, I had some really good coaches that taught me up pretty quick. Shout out Dave Marr. He won't watch this, but great coach. Helped me a lot in the recruiting process. So make it to high school. I played on JV for a couple of years there, made varsity, and honestly didn't really see a lot of playing time when I was in high school because the kids above me, like they were just so good, dude. Like we've talked about this previously. Like at Yorktown, the first basically if you start at Yorktown, you probably have a Division I offer from somewhere.
That's
Um,
insane.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. So like it's you could say it's a little discouraging, like when you're a senior and you're getting started over by like a junior or sophomore, and then
Right.
junior or sophomore is committed to like the Air Force Academy in Holy Cross. So
Right.
it's a little tough, but I mean it kind of goes to show like if you want something bad enough and you really want to play somewhere, um, even if it's not a Division I school, like I mean, I had offers from like D2, D3. I had like a couple little D1 looks there, but they never really panned out. And then Dearborn was actually my only NAIA offer, and which a lot of this came through summer ball. I know you guys talked about the significance of summer ball in either the first or second episode, but that's where a lot of my recruiting went on. So like you just go to those tournaments, play as hard as you can. If you see a coach, like put your name out there, dude. Like the worst thing that they can say is no.
Right.
Worst thing they can do is go watch somebody else.
Exactly.
Like if you're not
Yeah.
willing to take that rejection, then you're not going to get where you want to be. But yeah, back to kind of what we got off topic a little bit, but
That's all good, all good.
so yeah, I mean, a lot of it happened this summer. Went on some visits to again some D2 and D3 schools. And Dearborn was actually the last school that I visited. I was doing like this recruiting weekend trip with my mom where I left a football game, went down to a showcase at High Point, went from High Point to the school Mars Hill, which is a D2 in North Carolina, and then went from Mars Hill to Ohio Northern, which is a D3 in Ohio. And that last stop was kind of Dearborn. Like I just kind of shoot it out of the way. Honestly, I was like, I don't even know. This school's not even NCAA. Like, I don't know what this school is. I shouldn't give it a look.
Right.
And, I came here, talked with Coach Wags, Coach Watts, like all the guys we have on the staff. And I just like fell in love with the place. Like it's a little bit of a smaller environment, which is great. Saw the Union. The apartments are really nice here. Any recruits watching, we have great dorms.
Come to Dearborn.
But regardless, no, it was one of those things where, and I mean, you guys put it perfectly when you talked about it. It's like it doesn't matter what division you're at. because I could have gone anywhere else really in any division minus D1.
Right.
Like obvious reasons I couldn't get in school or D2 or D3. Out of those offers that I was talking about, you can really pick whatever has interest, but you got to choose somewhere that you're gonna succeed and where you're gonna like what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like the place you're going, you're just gonna spend a year or two there, and you're gonna be like, dude, this is horrible.
You're gonna hate it, like 100%.
You're gonna hate it, and ultimately, I feel like it's gonna transfer into kind of losing some love for the sport, and that's why we all play it at the end of the day. It's just because we love doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of my story. And now I'm going in my 4th year here. Was a captain last year, and we're looking to do some good things.
Hell yeah.
100%.
You know, I'm actually wondering, are you thinking of doing a 5th year here at Dearborn or no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put anything in writing yet.
Right.
But
hypothetically, if you had to say.
Hypothetically, if I had the chance to 5th year, I probably would. And I mean, I'm leaning in that direction. It seems like with kind of med school and grad school and the way everything's shaping up, I probably am going to 5th year. I hope by 5th year. I really do love the program we have going on here, and I think we can do something really special. So
super cool. Yeah.
So like going on to a little bit more less serious topic. So I think we all know, but a Friday night in Dearborn, Joe,
okay. Yeah.
what, like, you know, no practice next day. Let's just say, for instance, yeah, just give the audience like a little taste of like what it's like.
Look, I'm gonna preface this and say that my 21st birthday has passed, so I can speak up. If you were to talk to me a couple of days ago, I would have had to change my answer. But no practice, no game the next day. Which, when would this ever happen? Probably never. But I mean, I think we're starting off. Whether you get off class, you get off work, come back, see what the roomies are doing. Who knows? Give CK a little shout and be like, "Hey, what's?" But I'd say if I had an ideal Friday night, it would start off at the Union. You know, get the guys to come over, do our thing. You know what that entails. I don't need to say it, but and then probably take a trip over to the Audette house, the Lax house.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Audette house.
Cody, Parker, McDowell, the boys. And then I don't know. I mean, that would probably be my ideal night. Just be with the guys. Bring the girlfriends along too. Shay, come on and let's go get it done. Now that I'm 21, I've heard some great things about the bars in Detroit. I've heard so I can't wait to try them out for the first time ever. It's gonna be, but that would probably be the ideal Friday night.
Big question. At the end of the night, what is your go-to food?
Oh, dude. If it's not ramen,
I was about to say, I think I was pretty sure it was ramen a couple of times.
I know.
Not ramen, it's Dynasty Chinese food.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Random Chinese food joint out of Dearborn Heights, Michigan. They give you like the most food you could ever get for 11.
A crazy amount of food for no reason.
But prepare yourself for the next morning because it doesn't say. Yeah, dude. One thing, back to this Friday night question. I've gotten really big into Monopoly. I
really
into playing Monopoly, bro. It's nuts. Like, God, it's so fun.
Dude, our house was on a Monopoly wagon, dude, for like 2 weeks. It was insane. We were playing Monopoly every night after practice.
All right, so I know we're all Michigan fans for some football. You know, it's coming up. But speaking of the Big Ten, how we feel about UCLA and USC coming in the next couple of years?
I'll go first.
Go first.
Okay. I think it's really dumb, in my opinion. I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand what they thought. If you look at the map of where all the teams are, I mean, yes, true, money. Okay, obviously that's the first reason, but the map is like all Midwest teams and a little bit of East Coast, and then it's just like they're all the way on the West, and I'm like, why? And they also play a completely different style of football, I think, a little bit. I feel like the Big Ten is more just like hard hitting, like kind of more like old fashioned football, I guess I would say. I don't know. That's how I've always viewed it, I guess, since a kid. Maybe it's better now. I'd say like Ohio State is probably more of a modern way of playing football, but I don't get it. I just don't see them fitting in to like all the teams that are already in the Big Ten.
Yeah. I'm on the same wave as Braxton where like it's two completely different styles of football.
Yeah.
I mean, USC specifically for football, you bring in USC, you're bringing in one of the most storied programs of all time. Like people think of football and USC is easily a top 10 team that comes to mind. So I think it's great for the brand, quite honestly. You bring in USC and UCLA. And I mean, who knows? Like with them coming to the Big Ten, I was thinking about this too. We might see some pretty powerhouse men's lacrosse teams that start coming out of USC and UCLA. USC already has a pretty dominant women's team. I think UCLA is still clubbed for both. I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, you look at the Big Ten, you're talking a pretty lacrosse heavy like conference. You got Hopkins, Ohio State, Maryland, Michigan, Penn State, Rutgers. Like you have a pretty stacked lacrosse conference. If we can get USC and UCLA, spend a little money, get the boys D1, get the girls
right.
D1. USC already runs Division I women's, but yeah, dude, I mean I like it overall. I think it's good.
I like it. I mean, y'all aren't. I'm just piggyback on y'all. You're definitely right about the two different styles of play. That's West Coast compared to Midwest football, which is different from Southern football, which is different from East Coast football. So it's like, putting the two together. I want to see like how it goes. I think USC will have a better fare, I guess, starting off like football wise compared to UCLA. They've been kind of in like the gutter lately, but USC they got a new coach, they got a lot of transfers, new players coming in. So like, I'd be actually interested to see how that goes along. But like going towards the future, I think that's going to force like the Big Ten, at least a lot of schools in the Big Ten, to start adding more sports such as lacrosse, which I could definitely see UCLA, USC getting programs. And then once other teams start seeing that, they're going to see like, oh, wait, like now we got Purdue over here, which is like over in the area of the Big Ten schools. So I would actually love to see more Big Ten schools starting to add lacrosse because I know they would be powerhouses like if you give them a couple of years.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
I mean, two kind of final points, one football related, one lacrosse related. USC is basically Oklahoma 2.0 right now. All of the recruits and transfers they're getting from there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But like lacrosse wise, you see all these West Coast guys. Like my brother just graduated from Torrey Pines, which is like a very good program nationally. And I mean, a lot of those kids, I'm sure, would have loved to stay on the West Coast and go to college. But I mean, the closest Division I school for them is like Utah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so throwing some powerhouse D1s would be pretty sick.
Yeah, they'd be able to keep a lot more like Southern and West Coast guys like in this, like, in this area in the Southwest. I'd love to see that too. I'm sure USC would have a solid program too. Like I just know they would, and the freshest jerseys.
Yeah,
they would though.
So fresh.
Can you imagine that Trojan on like any lacrosse helmet?
That'd be sweet.
I'm already picturing it now.
Yeah, I'm too.
Need it.
You guys might have to like flash a graphic of USC.
Dude, yeah, for real.
We're gonna go ahead and move into the now it's movie of the week. We got to switch it up from song of the week due to copyright issues, but movie of the week. We're going with
R.I.P.
Fury. I'm gonna put like a big like photo of the Fury. Y'all both seen Fury, right?
Yes. It's been a few years.
It's been a little bit, but I gotta say it's one of my favorite movies, especially war movies. I love them, and Brad Pitt's in it, and tankers, bro, gets me going.
Oh yeah,
I'm Brad sure Pitt. Washington appreciates the Army shout out there.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely sure he was, but he wasn't like, I don't know. He whenever I came and told him, I was like, yeah, Dad. So like Navy's looking like real nice though. Like I gotta admit. And so then like we had a guy actually come speak about the Navy like medical stuff here like a couple of weeks ago at my internship. And I talked to him. I was like, I don't know. I might need to might need to go against my dad for a second.
Yeah, fun fact for everybody who might not know, Bryce's dad is like the embodiment of a tank. Like he is humanly, if you could put a tank into a human, it would be his dad.
I'm gonna post a picture of Pops and like try and get one of him flexing.
Dude, you need to.
I'm sure you'd appreciate that. All right, so now we're yellow picks.
I got sneeze.
You what?
I got sneeze.
Bless you.
I'm not gonna be able to sneeze if you keep saying so. All right, it's gone. I'm good.
All right, cool. So let's go. We'll start with Archers versus Redwoods. Archers up 10-9. How you feel about those Woods?
The Woods let me down, man. They let me down by 1 goal.
Tough draw, I'm just
I
saying.
know, man. I'm so disappointed, actually.
All right, so what about Atlas versus Chrome? Atlas up 14-13. How you feel?
Dude, all these games this last weekend, basically 1 goal difference except 1 game, which is just insane. And I don't know. I feel like that game could have gone either way.
It definitely could have gone either way.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching it too hard, but when I saw the last 4 minutes, I was just, bro, it was I was definitely beating, my heart was beating a little bit faster than me too. So
there's one pick I want to hear here, and I'm gonna go crazy for it.
Water Dogs versus Whip Snakes.
Water Dogs, baby!
Dude, for real.
Go Dogs.
Let's go. Hey, yo, my boy Mikey Sowers popped off. That's all I gotta say.
Yeast.
I cannot believe that happened.
Hey, bro, that's what I'm saying.
shock.
You can't let him out. You gotta, don't count him out, bro. Don't count him out.
It's insane.
He's a beast.
And last but not least, Chaos versus Cannons, 13-11. I can't say I was super surprised by that one. They have all the NLL guys back. I expected them to win.
Yeah, I don't know though, but the Cannons they're still not doing too bad.
No,
They've
not
stayed
at
in
all.
that game at least, which is interesting. Have they won a game yet? I don't think they have.
Cannons?
Have they?
Maybe one.
No idea.
We'll look at that. It's moving on. Braxton, come on, news story of the week. Let's hear it.
All right.
I won't even do
Random news of the week. All right, so there's a new beer in Singapore. It is called New Brew. It is actually partnered with the Department of Water with Singapore, and then a brewery called Brew Works, and it's made out of basically filtrated recycled sewage water.
Oh no.
Yes.
No.
And
no.
yes, it's actually made out of the sewage water in the city. It's recycled sewage water, and they sterilize it and then they brew beer out of it.
I wouldn't trust it. I don't care if they're sterilizing it for 3 days, bro. I'm not trusting that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You cannot. No.
There's no shot at convincing. You couldn't even pay me, bro. I don't care. That's disgusting.
Not even any amount of money to try it?
No.
It would have to be a lot of money. A lot of money. You're literally telling me that fact where it's there's I don't know the exact one, but it's every time you breathe in, you take in a ton of dead skin cells that are just took me a couple days to get over that. You're basically drinking poop water, dude.
Yeah. And here's the kicker though.
Look, it's
on the first weekend they dropped it, it's sold out. Oh man, it's crazy.
I would need to see how they sterilize it before I would even consider.
I would also need to see how they ferment it, bro. I need to see the whole process. What
are you fermenting?
It's
bro,
wild.
I need to see how they ferment that water.
That's what I'm saying. Because
it's supposed to raise awareness on water pollution and water shortages.
Okay, well the idea is there, but at the same time.
Yeah, but except it's poop water, so
yeah, that's
kind of gross.
Huh. I don't know
it's
how
called
I feel about
New
that.
Beer if you guys want to look it up sometime.
I'll look it up for show. I'm posting a picture of it too.
Yes, we're gonna definitely have to add a picture. I'm trying to see
out on the first weekend, dude.
Yep.
I don't know.
5.5%.
So
a little bit above, but not that much. Basically nothing.
I'm still not trusting it. I'm gonna be honest.
No, that's gross. It'd have to be 13% for me to be interested, I guess. Maybe I only need to drink one of them. I don't know. It's crazy, man.
Dude, that one caught me off guard.
I know, right?
I didn't know what you were gonna say, but it wasn't that.
That's the random news of the week.
I don't know what's more shocking is that somebody had this idea in the first place or that it's sold out.
Yeah, no. I don't know either. That's a good question.
That has to be a gag though, right? You and your boys are getting after it and you just you hand them a beer and you're like, oh, try this. And they're like, oh, this is really good. And you're like,
yeah, imagine.
Water, bro.
No, that has to be something.
That's gotta be the main reason people bought that beer. There's no.
I don't even know, dude. I think some people might be curious. I think that's the deep down weird part about it.
Unfortunately, that is the case. All right, Joe, let's go and get a big shout out to Joe for hopping on the show. You're our first guest. Come on, that means something.
Thank you guys for having me. I texted Bryce like 3 weeks ago and was like, "Hey, dude, you need a guest. Let me on." And thank you for having me on.
That was so funny, bro. Because I remember Braxton, because I texted you that. I literally texted you after he texted me. I was like, "Yo, Joe said he wants to be on the show. Like, you down?" You're like, "Yeah, fuck it."
Yeah, that was a good episode. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, Joe. Hopefully you had a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, it was sick. Go subscribe to the YT for everybody involved.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, he did it. He did the exit and everything.
Go drop a thumbs down below, hit this like button, and hammer the subscribe button.
That's what we like to hear here.
All right, yes, sir. But anyways, that's all till next week. We'll catch y'all later.